Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about how using loops in your tracks is not necessarily cheating, and it's maybe a common misconception that using loops in your tracks is somehow cheating, then there's no creativity behind it. It's something that I thought for ages, but actually if you add a loop to something, and you've made everything else in the track, then it's absolutely yours and you shouldn't shy away from that. But in this video I'm going to show you maybe a couple of techniques where you can take loops and make them your own and add a bit of extra character and interest and variety so you don't feel too guilty about using loops anyway. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I've got this little jam going on and I want to add an extra layer of percussion. This loop that I found works nicely, and to be honest, you could leave it here and be happy with your work. But I want to make it a little more my own. So here's a couple of things we can do. First, it's a really easy technique to change the sound of percussion loops by messing with the transient loop mode. In beat mode, if we set it to off and reduce the transient envelope number, it will leave just the transients or peaks in the loop and cut off the sound before and after. Doing this will create a different sound and give you different effects when you add effects. It's a way to switch up your loops easily, and it's always worth seeing how it sounds. The next technique is using the frequency shifter effect to change the sonic quality of your loop. Increasing or decreasing the frequency will add or subtract to the sound, moving the sample away from how it originally sounded. We can go one step further by automating this. For this first example, I have the LFO amount on the frequency shifter being automated by another LFO set to a square wave, effectively switching between two amounts of frequency modulation. Using the parameters of the LFO tool, I can set the LFO amount to switch between 50 and 100%. We can also use a shaper to automate the frequency shifter. In this example, I'm automating the frequency itself. Using the shaper, we can create rhythms within inside the loop which didn't exist originally. Messing with the rate of the shaper and the depth, which effectively acts as a dry wet, will help in getting something that fits with the track. We can also set the parameters of the shaper along with the LFO to reduce the frequency of the frequency shifter. Here it goes from 50% down to 40% on the shaper's parameters. Next thing I'll often do is just taking the sample into arrangement view and chopping it up there, repitching and reversing bits. I do this with breaks especially. To reverse a section, you can just drag over the part you want to reverse and hit the R key. To repitch sections of the loop, you can select the area, then dragging the clip up and back to separate it, increasing and decreasing the transpose to your liking. You can also adjust the volume of specific sections in this way. Here's what I came up with. To bring it back into the session view, we can just select it all, left click and choose consolidate. We can now just copy this all back as one clip. I'll rename it so I know which is which. The last technique uses randomness to take the chopping up of the sample even further. I'll drag the clip into an empty MIDI lane to add it to a sampler. I'll set the mode to one shot and add a monosequencer device. I'll first work out the octave range the samples are playing at. -2 seems to be right for this one. Then I'll go over to the pitch and start randomizing. The random notes of the sequencer trigger a random sequence of slices, so every time I hit the random button, I'll get a new drum loop. To save all these unique combinations, I'll add an audio lane, set its input to my MIDI lane, and arm the track. Then I hit the record button on the clip, and my sequences will start recording. I'll go back in and randomize the pitch and velocity until I find something I like. As we're already recording, everything I create will be saved. I'll stop when I found a couple of cool combinations. Now I can copy the sample over to the session view and go through the clip, looping sections I like. If I want to save one as just the loop, I'll right click and crop sample. And there you have it, 4 ways to make a generic loop your own. Here's before and after. So that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned something from that, and maybe I've changed your mind on the efficacies of using loops in your own tracks and whether it's creative enough. And hopefully I've shown you a couple of creative ways to switch up those loops so they become your own loops rather than ones you grab from a sample pack. As I always say, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, really helps the channel out on our push to 3K. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.